Welcome to Eyes on the Grid, where we discuss all things F1. I'm Sarah, and with me is
Mallory?
Alexa?
And today I'll be talking about the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
It's lights out and away we go!
Okay, let's start with practices first.
All right. So I want to say the first thing that they talked about for free practice one is the papaya rules. Like, that was a big thing at the beginning because they were like, oh, we're going to favor Lando. And just a little heads up, that didn't happen. Yeah, but that was a big thing. And also, Crofty wasn't there. It was Harry this time, which I always find it so weird.
Yeah. But at least McLaren stated that they want to help Lando. This time it's official. They're going both for constructor and championship, but seems to be a little more difficult than planned.
Yeah, they seem to be going into this weekend with a set plan on who they were going to focus on.
Yeah.
Which was fun to see. Did they do that? No. But it was still nice to have that, their plan was to focus on their number one driver.
Yeah. But I guess the most exciting thing was that we had two rookies in free practice and in quali. And I want to say Franco obviously he's never been to Baku, so it was his first time there. And he was doing really good in free practice one. Won every practice, but specifically in free practice one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the rookies have made their point. For the whole Grand Prix, they're here, they're ready to fight. I think, but they did great. It was surprising to see them do as great as they did.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, I want to say he did great, but he also did get a red flag.
Yeah. At least it was in practices.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
They're still trying to learn the car. They're not used to F1 cars as the others. So, yeah. It is quite okay for practices.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he smashed into the wall or anything. He just lost the rear. So it was really, or not easy, but it was a good way to crash. That sounds right.
I was at least he didn't broke the car totally, so it was easily fixed. Chip.
Yeah, but the reason I said he was doing really well is because he was doing better than Albon, which both rookies did in free practice one, which is crazy.
Both of those teams did really well the whole weekend.
Yeah,
Haas and Williams. I was really surprised.
But we also had two other red flags, which was one for debris on the track, which it was a piece of metal, which was from Colapinto's car, actually. So he's causing more trouble. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but that was a weird red flag to have. I don't know. I don't think it counted. It should have counted as a red flag, but whatever.
Yeah, it was maybe just to warn the drivers, slow down, really slow down. It's dangerous on the track. Just avoid a crash again, a real crash, maybe.
Yeah, but if you saw the piece of metal, because they showed it, it was this small. It wasn't even that big. So, I mean, it could cause trouble, obviously. But, yeah, I thought it was funny. And, of course, it wouldn't be Baku without Charles crashing into a wall. At least he didn't say, I'm stupid.
This clip went viral at the time.
At the time, yeah. But, the fact that he crashed into the wall again, and it wasn't even in the same spot, but still, he crashed. I think people were expecting him to say it, so I thought that was funny.
That was funny if they did.
But that was pretty much it. There was a lot of commentary on rear wings. What else? And there was low grip because the track was so new, and that was pretty much it. Everything else was just rookies faster than the regular drivers, which I thought was the most interesting part.
Yeah, I think what's difficult with city tracks is that the ground is totally new because they're doing it for the tracks, for the race. So I think that's tricky for the drivers, to adapt, adjust and everything.
Yeah, every time I see like a street track, I think of Carlos's moment in Vegas last year with the pothole coming up. Like it always scares me every time they do the street.
I mean, that's a like it happens in the tracks.
True.
Yeah.
That's a risk.
That's what makes street racing, I think, exciting, is the variables and the unknowns.
There wasn't really anything big for free practice 2. It was mostly just them doing like quali laps and seeing like their times and stuff like that. Besides like Leclerc's car being fixed, Charles was fine, but he didn't really get to practice as much. A thing that I found funny for free practice 1, well, not funny, but I feel like he jinxed the race because he was like, obviously everybody always talks about safety cars during street races, and then he was like, it's a 60% chance of a street race or a safety car during a street race or during Baku. And he's like, and we haven't had one in 7 races. And I was like, but you just jinxed the drivers. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, I'm a big jinx person, and I felt like it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like, fortunately, we didn't have a safety car during the race, so that's pretty good. At least.
Virtual still a safety car. We'll get to that. I feel like you jinxed it, and I'm just saying.
Yeah. And Alpine, like, should we talk about Alpine? They struggled.
They struggled
like
so bad.
They had no practice at all. Like, we saw Esteban talking during an interview to French reporters, and he was like, okay, I had no practice at all, so I'm like struggling, and I'll be struggling for the race and for quali. Like, he was in a bad mood at the time.
Yeah, and like every free practice, he had power unit issues, which, like, just switch power unit. Like, why every race or every practice you were having issues? I would have done it like free practice 1 when he had the first issue, so that he could actually have practice. Oh, but did you see that they didn't report that he switched his power unit? So he didn't notify. He didn't notify the FIA. Which, why wouldn't you do that?
No, yeah, that's mind blowing to me.
They tried.
They tried to run away with it, but they didn't. And of course, speaking of like Con and his bad luck, he had a red flag again for the same issue. So in free practice 3. And our other rookie had another red flag. Poor Ollie. I feel bad. Like, Ollie wanted to have a full weekend, and he had the crash. So I just feel like he hasn't had, like, a real full weekend, if that makes sense.
But I love that we could see him have a full weekend, not just one session for us for a free practice, and we could see what we will be getting next year.
And with a different team instead of Ferrari.
Yeah. His future team, which is great.
And he did good. Like, he was good with us. Like, in my opinion, he did better than Magnussen. That, like, what he usually do. Like, it's my opinion to me. Like, for a rookie, first time with us, pretty cool. He got points. Like, when it's 1 point.
Yeah, we'll get
on the race day. We'll get to it, but
we'll get to
I
it.
have to say it.
Yeah. No, because it's true. Even he outqualified Hulk during like free practice. So, I mean, it's still good.
Yeah.
And
are we good for practices?
I think so. There wasn't really
maybe. Okay, so quali like Q1. So I think Mercedes tried something with medium tires. Like, they tried a new strategy to go against like all the other teams. But it wasn't working very well, so they moved to soft as the other, and it was better, I think. But they tried.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I was just gonna say that I think a lot of teams realized that the medium was just not working all weekend, and I think they shouldn't have used it for the quali at all because it didn't help.
During Q1, we also learned that Joe would be starting from the end of the grid for Sunday.
Yeah. I always find that weird when they like know that they're gonna start from the pit lane because or like from the back of the grid because of the power unit change, but yet they still do quality. You know?
Completely agree. I get that it's good practice and data for them to get,
I guess that's
but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah, it's just, I mean, you get it. The only difference is like if there's more people in the pit lane, then obviously it's gonna be like, this person's gonna go first, and then it's this person, that kind of thing. But like, I don't know. I just find it so weird that they still do quality.
Then we had Max, the struggle with his back rear. He said his car was like bumping, and it was the beginning of issues for him because this time again, like he struggled all weekend. So, like practices were different, but like in quali, he was struggling, like with his car at least. So he managed to go through, but
True.
he had problems.
But okay, I find it so funny because he was having problems, right, in Q1. But then in Q2, he goes first. Like, what?
That's the
happened
only
to
time
Sophie's?
he goes first.
True. That was true. It's true.
Do you think there was like the other drivers were like less pushing during
No.
Q2?
No, I
Really?
think it had to do with the tires because a lot of them used mediums, and that's probably what affected their laps for sure.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, we're still on Q1. The most shocking news ever is Norris,
Yeah.
which
He wasn't lucky at all.
because literally every time he tried to start a lap, it was like either a yellow flag or something. Like every time, because I was watching the radio, and every time he tried one, it was a yellow flag. So he couldn't technically finish any lap.
Yeah. In the moment, I was trying to figure out why he just didn't, like, he ended up the where he did, because even the commentators were like,
They
trying
were
to
so
figure out-
confused.
Yeah, they were. And I was like, like, what's going on? Because they were trying to get different angles and they were doing this different scenarios. And I'm just like, I'm right there with you. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I agree that, like, because I know that they were saying that it should have been a white flag. It shouldn't have never gone to yellow. Because if it wasn't, he was 6/10 up already in sector 2. So if that never turned into a yellow flag, he could have gotten a lot closer and qualified if he didn't slow down and lift. So I think the marshals messed up because even, did you see the clip where the marshal like takes the flag back really quickly, the white one?
Oh, I missed that.
No.
No, it happened in quali 1. You see it whenever they are talking, they play the clip back and you just see like the white flag come out and then he pulls it right out and then they go to yellow. So that was the reason, like, everybody was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was really unlucky with that because without the yellow flag, he would have made it to Q2 and Q3. But at least it was challenging for him, like wasn't expected because of like the competition for championship. But
Yeah.
at least he had to do with that. Wasn't the best strategy from McLaren at all. To like, it was a mix of lack of luck and strategy, in my opinion, for Q1. But at least Piastri went through it,
Yeah.
at least.
I agree that it was strategy also because even Will was like, I'm sorry. Like, he apologized to Lando during the radio after they announced that he was 17.
Yeah.
That was
And yeah, just finishing with Q1, I would like to say, like, I liked Bottas and Zhu, like, they helped each other for going through Q1, and it was a cute, like, team relationship between each other, so it was pretty good. Like, Zhu helped Bottas, like, get aspiration and, like, go faster, so I would like to say, I like when teammates work together, so it was pretty cool to see it on camera.
Yeah. And I think that was a theme because even Checo was like on the radio and he was like, what happened? I thought I was supposed to get a tow. Why do you take me out at this time? So I think like everybody was trying to get some kind of tow from anybody, not just like teammates. But yeah, I think that was a theme this quali for sure.
Yeah. Then Q2, surprisingly, like you said, Max was first.
Yeah.
Like what happened? Like, why?
I think he got a toe. I think that's the only reason he was able to get all the way up there. And I think they planned it that way because there was no way. Because even in Q3, he didn't get first. So I think that's the only way he would have gotten first.
Yeah. And all the contending teams, they were going out way earlier than I think in any typical qualifying. They would have like held off or wait till like it's less traffic, but they were going right away.
Yeah.
To probably avoid what happened to
With Lando. Yeah, for sure.
And then Franco was surprisingly good. Like, he was 5th on Q2, so that's pretty good. Like, for a rookie, pretty cool.
Yeah. I think, and it was shocking too because Ollie was so close. Ollie was, so he almost got it too. I think it was like a very last minute, like, because he was 10th until the very last minute when all the other ones were doing like the very last laps, and then he got 11th. But he did really good as well.
And then going kind of back to what you said, Mallory, about teams helping each other, Carlos was also on the radio saying how Charles keeps missing his toe opportunities, which I thought was fun to see Carlos in his like strategist helmet on, getting that extra on and helping Charles. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them both. Like, that's such a good team. Like, yeah, it was fun to see like that. Yeah.
We'll get to it, but they were just so good during the race. I'm not
They know.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about the end later.
Yeah. And moving on to Q3, which, my gosh, that was so nerve-wracking.
Like, Q3, like, can we talk about Williams? Like, when they forgot I don't know how to say it in English, but the
fan?
ventilator.
Yeah, the fan.
Like, I saw the video where the engineer tries to grab it and like it won't come off, and Alex just keep going, and it's like, no. And
I didn't see that.
Close. He was so close to getting run over. I was like,
I didn't see that.
That could have it was really close. That could have ended so badly.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch it. Yeah.
I was saying, like, I was watching F1 TV, but with the French commentators, and there was like, what are they doing? Like, they let him go with the fan, and then nobody was understanding what was happening. Like, everyone thought they forgot it on the car, but it was like yellow, like neon yellow, like,
because it matches the camera. Like, I was looking after, and a lot of the cars have the yellow camera, so maybe they thought it was the camera. I don't know.
But I also don't understand why they didn't try to stop him closer to, like, he stopped in the pit lane exit. Why didn't they try to stop him still?
I honestly don't think they noticed, because like you said, like, somebody was trying to stop them, but then when they showed the engineers and the mechanics, they were just standing there, and then somebody saw it on the video and then was like, oh shit, we forgot.
But even that, the guy who's responsible for removing that, you don't think he didn't realize he didn't remove it and couldn't tell anybody about it? Like, that's just what is weird to me. But
it's true.
I saw him like waving, but it was like so slow. Like, he was like, no, like, just processing what happened. Like,
he was shocked. Oh, I need to go back and watch it then.
Yeah, and like, he was under investigation for an unsafe release from Williams. So it was.
Yeah.
Could
he was
have
unable.
Been...
Yeah. It could have been a lot worse in penalty-wise for him. I honestly didn't think he personally deserved, if he was going to get a penalty. I thought that was a team error, not a driver error.
And it was. Williams did end up getting the penalty, not Alex. It was 5,000 euros, which fair, honestly.
Yeah.
In Q3, not both, but Colapinto, I need to talk about him because he not outmaneuvered. What am I trying to say? He qualified 9th, and Alex qualified 10th. Well, because of what happened, but I don't think Alex would have gotten 9th or 10th, even with that issue, without the issue.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool to see them in top 10.
Yeah,
Like,
both of them.
it was good, yeah. And then we had Gasly, who was disqualified, like Pierre. Like Alpine was... What happened with Alpine this weekend?
I don't think, like, how do you measure the fuel? So how does that happen?
I don't know. Like, they mess up. Like, it's just a team error, but it shouldn't be happening at this level of racing. Like, I don't get it how they can mess this up.
Yeah.
But it happens. Like, I'm not glad it's a French team. Like, they messed up a lot. I'm not happy, okay? As a French girl, I'm not happy. Like, no. Please.
Especially with, like, all the speculation that's going on with Renault in general. And, like, this does not look good for them. Who's going to want to buy the team when they have all these issues?
I don't know. But I'm not happy with them at the moment. Like, they need to improve. Like, please, make us proud. S'il vous plaît. S'il vous plaît.
Who knows?
Then we had our top 3, like Charles, Oscar, and Carlos. And like, Charles is on fire. Like, since summer break, 4th pole in 4 races. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
He's got something.
Well, this is also very much Charles's track. Like, he's won pole the last 3 times. He hasn't won from pole, but he's qualified pole. So he's very much comfortable with this track.
Yeah,
which was fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, it's I guess, like, not a curse, but like, it's just known that, like, whoever gets pole is not gonna win. And the only time that actually happened was, I think, in like 2018 with Nico Rosenberg. He had pole and he won the race, and I think somebody else did too.
Valtteri.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, 2 times in the last, like, what, 7 years? So, but I really thought he was going to.
I thought he was too. Okay, can we talk about predictions? Yeah, so far, we had big plans. Like, everything was supposed to be fine, and we were, like, running accordingly to qualies. Like, we had ideas about driver of the day, fastest lap, underdog. I was mostly wrong for all these last 3 things. Like, I didn't have a good driver that we had after the race, but like, my predictions were doing good until the race. What about yours?
Mine, they were fine until, like, people started moving around.
Yeah.
Same. If things like stayed where they were going, for the last couple minutes, I would have been okay-ish.
I think for mine, I think if Hamilton stayed in where he was, which was what, P7, if he stayed where he was, my predictions would have been pretty good. Like, because the others were, like, similar area, but like the top 4 were somewhat right, and then the 7 through 10 were, like, so, like, in the same area, but not, like, in the order that they were.
Yeah, maybe I didn't plan to have our rookies in the points, so I was wrong for that.
Yeah, I planned on the wrong rookie. I mean, I planned on Behrman. I just didn't plan on Franco.
Yeah, but it proves us, like, everything can change. Interesting is that, like, it shows that, like, from predictions and quality to race day, everything can change. And race was unpredicted.
I will say this was a really hard prediction. Like, usually we have a lot easier time, like, but I think because it was so unknown, our predictions are really hard. Like, at least for me, like, the bottom 5 to 10 was really hard to predict.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I kept changing them too. Like,
yeah, we never know, like, how it was going to be, and at least to me, like, the order was completely mixed. So yeah, it was last part of the top 10 was hard. Yeah, harder than the top part to me.
which I kind of like. I think a lot of the races recently have been hard to predict because Max hasn't been a race winner and it hasn't been as easy. But I kind of like that it was hard.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's great that we can like actual race weekends where we don't know who's going to win, who's gonna come the top three.
Wait, but who was your guys' underdog? Mine was
I thought
Colapinto.
Ollie.
Good. Who did you put?
Mine was Lando. Like, I was sure he was going to do very good
I mean,
on
he
race
did.
day.
He did.
Yeah,
Just,
but yeah,
yeah.
I had faith in him. Like, I was like, all right, man, do it. And he did. But Franco did too. Like, you were very good about it. Like, you
I
felt
had a feeling.
didn't.
I had a feeling. I mean, Ollie was good too. And I had a feeling. Franco was just on it all weekend. All right, but we have to talk about race day because it was, I think we were so nervous about turn 1 for so long that like once it happened, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was very anticlimactic to what I was building up in my head.
But okay, unrelated. Well, not really. Did you see Formula 2? And theirs? The back of the grid was crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess because that's like a different kind of car, but still, that's what I thought was going to happen for Formula 1. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to crash. It was going to be bad.
It could have been, but at least it was smooth. Like, it was kind of smooth. I was expecting at least a red flag from one of the drivers. I didn't know which one, but at least it was surprisingly smooth.
I mean, we kind of did have like a small thing, but I don't think anybody noticed with Yuki and Stroll. Like, I had no idea until Stroll got on the radio and was like, I have a puncture. It's like,
I didn't actually see what happened.
yeah, that's why I don't think anybody knew. But it wasn't even on turn 1. I think it was like 2 or 3 where Stroll was on the inside and Sonoda like basically put him in a corner and he couldn't go anywhere. And I was surprised. I was just gonna say I was surprised at Yuki for going as far as he did with the like hole on his side of his chassis for so long.
At least he tried.
Like, he really wanted to, and like he just couldn't. He didn't have the speed. He was still seeing aerodynamics for sure.
Yeah. But going back to the start of that, the biggest news for overnight between quali and race day was that Lewis and Ocon were starting from the pits.
Yeah. I think that, like I said, it messed up a lot of our predictions that like Hamilton wasn't going to be at the front. Which he did really well, like try to get there. Ocon, I'm not surprised. Sorry.
Yeah, but at least Lewis had an history in Baku of starting at the bottom of the grid and like going forward to the top. Like, at least he tried, and he did quite good during the race, even with the car he had. Because I don't know if you had seen the comment he made on the radio, like, I'm trying to pilot the thing you gave me. Like, what is that car?
Yeah, he was like, are you seeing? But other than that, like, it wasn't that big of a start.
No, I did. Charles was doing good. Like, at the beginning of the race, he had a good pace. He had like the fastest laps.
Yeah, and
Oscar was
on him.
Yeah,
and he did have like a very good gap at first. What was it, like 6 seconds before he had to pit, and it messed everything up.
Yeah, but at least the top 3 was like very close to each other. Like, Checo was following Oscar, that was following Charles, and they had a good pace, like all of them. But like when Oscar like overtook Charles, it was too late after that. He protected very well. Like, he did a very good job at protecting his first place. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't easy.
No, and everybody was shocked at Oscar. I don't think anybody thought that he was gonna make that like 20-second gap at all when he passed her. Like, everyone was like, "What?" Even Leclerc was like, "I didn't see you there."
Yeah, it was a bold move, but I think like Piastri is getting like strength or he's getting bold. Like, I don't know, but like he's trying strong moves and it works. Like
Yeah.
he did good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't even think
He
it's that. Well, yes, confidence, but I think like the talks of McLaren are actually helping him. I think, like you said, confidence, but like I don't think if they haven't been talking like this for the last 2-3 months, it would be like this. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if they weren't having all these issues.
He feels supported, I think.
Yeah.
In the team, so it helps him making
Sure.
his moves.
Yeah. And I will say a lot of people pitted so early. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Like they started pitting at like lap 11 or 13. And the medium tires were supposed to last between like 17 and 24.
I think most of the teams went with the hot strategies for tires, if I'm not wrong. Like,
Only
most of them chose it for the first like round of the laps. Like they switched to mediums, like some teams did, but at the end of the race. So there was like a
No.
strategy to stay with hot. No, I'm wrong.
no, it was the other way around. Everybody was on medium except for 5 people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because everyone started with medium and everyone ended with hard besides 5 people. Because I remember at least Albon and Norris, they started on hard and then went to mediums. But literally everybody except for 5 were on mediums, and that's why they were having so many issues and pitting early
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
because the
Right
medium
now,
wasn't
yeah.
working.
Okay. Yeah. And at least Max still had problems with his brakes. Like he was struggling again with car issues. Like I don't know what's happening with Red Bull cars right now, but he's struggling. Like it's been a few races, like he had brakes problems or tire problems or anything. Like I don't know what's happening with the cars. But Perez looked good.
that's what I was about to say. Perez looked totally different compared to what Max looked like this weekend.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because even like last race in Monza, Checo was like, "Yeah, Max is like me now," and then look at Checo this race. I think it's something that they had on some upgrade that they did that they can't figure out, because I feel like the last 2 or 3 races they've been saying, "Yeah, we're looking and we figured out what's wrong," but it's still not working. So it has to be something else.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes for the following races, but at least it's not like encouraging for him. Like it's difficult. And we had Lando that was doing good, like going up to the top 6. Like he was doing very good. And after his pit stop, he did a very, very good job like going after Max. Like there was a 14 seconds gap and he went like to 3 in like a few, I think
Like
a few
6
laps.
laps.
Like, yeah, it was very quick. He had a very good pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that, oh, by the way, Lando was our driver of the day. And I think it makes sense that he was, because even when Piastri had to pit, Lando was like, how long do I have to hold back Perez for Oscar? And he did it. Like, I'm shocked.
He did so well with team orders. Like teamwork. That's the word. Like, yes, it was team orders, but he did really well with actually following them
Yeah. And you can
willingly.
yes. And you can definitely tell that his like mood was so different even after the race. Because like, you know how sometimes you can tell he was sad, or you can see in his eyes that he was crying, and I feel like this time you couldn't tell. I mean, maybe because he was 4th and not 3rd, but like for the amount of spaces that he advanced, really good.
I was not expecting him to be as high up as he ended up being.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I put him 7th, I think, in my predictions.
But I'm ninth.
Because
Me too.
because I was thinking of pit stops, I was like, there's no way he's going to get through Alonso. And that was their big worry, too, that he wasn't going to get through Alonso if they ended up putting him behind him. So, I mean, it makes sense, but I guess good for him. You know, I'm proud and I'm happy.
He can be proud of himself. Like he did a very good job.
Yeah.
For real. It wasn't easy. Like yesterday, like on Saturday, he was like, okay, I try to see what I can do because Baku is a hard track, and then he did a very good job. They made a good job as a team too, because of the statements that were made by McLaren on Friday. Like, okay, we're gonna support Lando. He supported Oscar too, so
I mean, it was
like,
the
I think
only
it's
way.
good. Yeah, but it's good to see them like work as a team.
And,
too.
you know, now maybe next race, Oscar does the same or vice versa. Like, I think now it's the time that they're actually helping each other because they know how important it is.
I hope so. Like, I really hope that they can support each other and help when it's clear one is gonna
Doing
score, more points. Yeah.
And then we had our Williams team. They were doing very good during the race. Our top 11 was very, very good. Like close to each other, we had Alex, Nico, and Franco, and it was very good. Like even for Haas, like they're usually like more struggling, and I felt like it was like better for them. And even like Oli was doing very good. So I was proud. I was proud of them.
Yeah.
Like watching the race.
Really surprised of how well both Haas and Williams did, which I love that they were able to end up where they did.
Yeah, I was worried for a bit because once they pitted, they were like down in 15th and 16th, and I was like, oh, they're not going to get up to the points. Like, I was a little bit worried, but they did really well with getting through the grid. And I feel like this was a race, basically like top 3 race. Like, they were fighting for the beginning of the grid, and that was pretty much it. Because I don't think the back of the grid was fighting it.
No, I mean, like, with 3 laps remaining, it was like a 3-ray race for second place. It was so fun to watch that.
Oh my God, those 3, the last 10 laps were nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, I won't say relaxing on the couches, but we're like, okay, 3 more laps to go and we'll be done. We're happy. And then what's happening? Like Checo wanted to try. Like he did. I think he did try to overtake Charles, and then Carlos was very close. So Charles was securing his position. Carlos was like, okay, let's try to overtake too, and then worst thing ever.
I think they should have waited instead of a corner. I think instead of a corner, they should have waited to overtake at a straight. Because obviously something's going to happen if you try to overtake in a corner. And for the longest time, I thought Checo was going to do it to Charles. Like, oh my God, I was like, Checo's going to attack him. They're going to crash. Like, that usually happens. Like, I was worried. And I was not expecting it to be Carlos.
Yeah. Well, and Checo was getting way more aggressive the closer it got to checkered flag. So I think she might have, that was one of the reasons it ended up the way it did.
Yeah, and what annoyed me was the way that it was filmed, I guess. Because if you look at it a certain way, it looks like Carlos got in Checo's way. And I was very mad at Checo for saying it was Carlos's fault, because it was not. But it did look like Carlos was the one that hit him just because it's angled that way. But that was only because Checo's freaking tire got stuck on Carlos's rear.
Yeah. And we had like the air view, like from the, like, I don't know how to say it in English, like au-dessus d'eux, like from the top. And like there we saw the way they were driving, and we can see like Carlos was like following his path, and then just Checo didn't adjust to being overtaken. And I think like maybe like Carlos like saw an opportunity to overtake, but at least I think he protected Charles too. Like that was a real teammate thing. Like I was so emotional seeing it. Like I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, no, it was sad. But Checo was totally in the wrong, because you need to leave. The rule is you need to leave a car length width or whatever it is, and he didn't.
I would have loved to see a double podium for Ferrari.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm really hoping we get to before the season ends.
I'm hoping Singapore because I'm reminded of last year's, and you already know I want to get a tattoo of it, of like that moment with Carlos and Lando. I want it to be with Carlos and or not Carlos. Yeah, Carlos and Charles. I want that moment. Same thing with the fireworks in the background.
But yeah, it would be so cool.
And it'd be so special because like Carlos won in Singapore.
Yeah. With that crash, we had a race finished under a virtual safety car.
Which I'm sorry, it is crazy in the last lap, or like the second to last lap, for this to happen.
I think I'm feeling sorry for Oscar. Like his finishing of the race was like unfinished. Like I don't know, like emotionally
Because it's
I
so
was, like,
slow.
Yeah, but I was like stuck on the crash, and then like we had the safety car, and then all of a sudden it's done, it's over, and I was like, oh no, like
I
it
watched.
overtook like Oscar's win to me.
I thought that too, and I thought like Oscar was gonna be sad. But I watched the little interviews that they do after, and Oscar said that actually this win meant more than his first win because that he actually has to defend half the race. So I think even though there was a crash, I think that didn't affect him this time. Like you could see like a completely different Oscar. He was like it meant so much more this one.
Not taking away and saying he didn't deserve his first win, but he 100% earned this win. I feel like, again, not saying he didn't earn his first one, just that this one he like actually literally fought for it.
Yeah. And like I said, in the interviews or whatever that they did, I think they also realized that like that kind of overshadowed his first win, because the way that they worded it made it seem like, are you happy about this one? Like, is this one better than the first? So I think Papaya noticed it too.
Yeah, and that's why he got driver's day from like all the fans, because he made a super good job like keeping his position, and that was real racing. Like for real, it was cool to see it.
And I was shocked because I think I was so focused on like Lando trying to move up that I thought I didn't even see Oscar in the votes. Like, you know how sometimes they show on the side like what the leading thing, it said when I saw it, it said it was, which didn't make sense. It was Lando, Charles, which those two made sense, and then Carlos at the bottom. And I was like, Carlos didn't really do much, like literally 3/4 of the race. So I don't know why he was like driver of the day at that point, but I didn't see Oscar at all. That's why I was so confused that he got driver of the day.
Yeah, but I think he deserved it. Like our driver's day was good, but like if it's Oscar, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it mixed everything from our predictions.
I was not expecting George in top 3.
He wasn't too.
So shocked. Like I did not even register he was third until he was interviewing, and I was like, what is George doing? Like I was so shocked that he was there.
Do you think like that's how he thinks now? Because even the commentators were like, last time it was both race winners and you were first, but this time it's third place. Like, are people just like, gonna expect that now?
I think he just like got lucky to be on the podium because of the crash, but he was like, okay, I won't like take the win as I would have if I had like really fought for it. Like it was like more a lucky thing.
Yeah,
than
he was
anything.
12 seconds behind. So it was like not really worth it. But all right. The safety car helped him catch up, I guess.
Yeah. And then also just we had 4 DNFs, which we mentioned throughout. We had Carlos, Perez, Stroll, and Tsunoda.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Stroll just for a second? Like, what's happening during the race? He was like at the bottom of the grid. Like I don't get the gap between Alonso and him. Like it was massive on the race. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah. Even in the parade, no, not the parade. Well, it was technically a parade. when they interviewed him, Fernando was like, yeah, we're getting better, but we're not there yet. Like, nothing's changed. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I felt like Stroll felt so defeated when he answered his questions. Like, he was just like, yeah, sure. Like, what else can I say? Like, I do feel bad for Stroll. Actually, maybe Adrian Newey will change that.
I hope.
We'll see. I'm actually very interested to see how that whole team, with all their new hires throughout the past few years, how that ends up playing out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about all teams, to be fair. I don't think, even if Adrian Newey like starts next year, I don't think it's going to change. And like,
No, it takes like years for
the development.
Just
yeah.
That was our race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited for Singapore.
I am too. I can't wait to have like another race next weekend.
Yeah.
Before the other gap, like the other break.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
from racing. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of the episode. Is that okay for you? Thanks everyone for listening. If you enjoyed the show and want to see more, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube at Eyes of the Grid. For those of you who are listening, don't forget to check YouTube for the new version of the video. Make sure to come back next week where we talk about Singapore Grand Prix. Until then, this is Eyes of the Grid. Don't forget to follow us and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
It's lights out and away we go.